Alright, good morning guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be going over the TCS Motorsports engine shroud kit. I'll be going over how to install it and what all comes in the kit. Ty from TCS Motorsports was kind enough to send this down to me to do a nice little install video for y'all today. So let's go ahead and start this off and show you what comes in the kit. Alright guys, so here's the entire TCS kit. I'll go over everything here real quick. First off, you get the awesome TCS Motorsports decals, which I always love getting in my kits. And then secondly, you'll see right off the bat here, you'll see the big shroud itself. Now, the first thing you'll notice is it says laser film on it, and then on the other side will be the shiny side. You're going to first think, well, that's the side I need to install outwards that you can see, and that's not true. The side that says laser film is the side that we're going to actually install outwards that you can see, because the side that you can actually see looks already scuffed up and damaged. The side that actually says laser film, when you pull that back, there'll be a beautiful, shiny, polished piece underneath. They do that on purpose this way, so when you get it, ship it, and you get to install it, you can pull that off, and everything underneath looks perfect. So we're not going to pull that off yet. We're going to wait here a little bit. The other thing you'll see here is to the left, you'll see the bolts, and you'll see some spacers that you'll need to install this so it sits nice and flush on the engine shroud. To the right of that, you'll see the electrical kit, and this is a 12-volt switch that we'll use to wire it up. I'll go over it a little bit more in depth in this and kind of show you what I'm going to do. Try to give you guys the best understanding I can of how I'm going to wire this into the car. And then lastly here, and the most important part of this kit, is the fans itself. It comes with dual fans that we'll be able to wire up here, and I'll show you how to install. But that is it, guys. This is everything that comes in the kit, nicely packaged. I got to say, when I got it, it came with a ton of packaging. It came with a ton of stuff to make sure it got shipped nice and safely. But let's go ahead and let's flip over to the car now and let's go ahead and install this. Alright guys, now that we're to the back of the car here, we can see the stock shroud, which I've got a couple decals on a couple other things, but you can see it's just a basic shroud. It's pretty much stop from water getting into the engine bay, and there's a little bit of ventilation there to the left. We're going to have to go ahead and remove all the screws and bolts. There is a total of 12 screws and two 10mm bolts that will need to be removed. So you can do this one of two ways. I personally am going to use my impact to make this really quick, or you can just use a handheld screwdriver and a 10mm socket wrench. Whatever works easiest for you. I personally here, I'm going to use my impact so I can get this done as quickly as possible. One thing I want to note is you will need to reuse two of the items on the shroud, which I'll show you here in a minute once I get it off. Alright guys, now you can see the shroud is off. Now you can see how much ventilation really the stock turbo model has here. One other thing I want to make sure is clear, this only works for the turbo model specifically. If you do not have a turbo shroud, this kit will not bolt up. It doesn't have the clearance, as the turbo model actually has some bolstering to it. The actual shroud itself sits slightly higher than what an NA model would, so you must have a turbo shroud like this car does, or a turbo engine lid. Next up now, guys, let's go ahead and start installing the fans before we install the actual shroud itself on the car. One thing I wanted to mention, guys, like I was saying there earlier, one thing that you will have to take from the stock shroud itself, you'll need these two little spacers here. What this does is keeps the engine lid from actually rubbing and actually spaces it up when you go to close it. So you'll need to remove these and install in the new one here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these then, and I'll show you where they need to be installed on the new piece. All right, guys, so first thing I'm going to do here is, because when you start bolting everything down, it's going to be hard to try and peel this top layer off, this laser film. So I'm going to go ahead and peel the laser film off, and then what we're going to do is install the fans itself, and we have to use these spacers, which I'll show you here in a minute. Now I've got my shroud, well, I took the film off it here. Now I need to install my first fan. What you're going to need to do first is install one of these guys right here. All right, guys, now that we've got the fan on and we've got it like hand tight right now, what we need to do next is take an 11mm socket and a number 4 Allen key and tighten this up some, because right now it's just loose. So I'm going to do one fan at a time. Once I get this one done, we'll go ahead and move to the other one. Repeat the same process we did for the right side here, and then I'll show you what we need to do with some of the wiring before we mount this thing up to the actual engine lid itself. All right, guys, now the last thing we need to do here is install these little rubber stoppers, which I had talked about earlier here. These stoppers are what give it enough room to sit on the engine deck itself. So they go inside of the engine shroud here, the actual kit itself. You just screw these down in, just like you remove them. Very simple. This just makes it level on the engine deck, keeps it from, I guess, sitting uneven, and also keeps it from making any noise from sitting on the latch. So I'm gonna go ahead and install these, and then I'm gonna show you how to install some of the wiring. All right, guys, so I got the shroud on the car now. Obviously, you saw there, we went ahead and crimped on the connectors, plugged everything up, and then I went ahead and installed it. It was just the reverse of how you uninstalled the stock shroud. It bolts right up using these bolts here and these screws. Very, very, very simple. Now, here comes the fun part, which now that we ran all the wiring, now where do we get power from? That is the real hard part from doing this. Assembling it, putting it together isn't so hard. It's finding where you need to find your power source to make sure the fans work. All right, guys, so I'm done here now, and I've ran the wiring. I went ahead and removed the panel here, like you can see on the passenger side, and ran the wiring underneath. I went ahead and installed the 12-volt relay right here using a 10mm bolt and nut, and then I used the ground that's right here. This is a typical ground on the MR2 and has a 12mm bolt already here, so this will be really easy for you guys to use. Then I ran the power the whole way around the shock tower here, and inside the fuse box here, let me move this wiring out of the way, you'll see there's a power unit. This is direct power from the battery, and you can hook up your power line directly to it. There's two 10mm in there. You can just use one of the 10mm and bolt directly to it. Once you do that, it's pretty simple from there. I'm able to actually kick on the power now, so let me go ahead and focus here real quick. And this is gonna be loud, guys. These things move some serious air, so if I click this on, I mean, it moves some serious air. It's very impressive. Turn it off. Again, on and off. That's it, guys. The switch works really well, and it does light up when you kick it on and off. The little kit is impressive. I'm very, very happy with this, and the fans are really reliable too. So I'm going to mount the switch in the trunk because I don't want anything in the interior of my car. I try to keep it as stock-ish as possible, but you can run it up underneath the car and then put the button inside if you like. That's completely up to you. That's a preference thing, but that's how you wire it up, and everything works perfectly now. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you very much for tuning in. I was beyond excited to get this installed in the car. Again, I'd like to thank Ty over at TCS Motorsports for sending me the shroud and letting me install this here today. It was very easy, as you guys can see, step by step. I broke it down a lot, but it's very, very simple to get this on, and getting power to it is even easier. I thought it'd be a lot harder than this, but it's stupid easy. So that makes it easy for you guys, and hopefully when you guys go through the process, you'll have no problems. If you do have any questions or concerns, you can do one of two things. One, either hit me up down below in the comment section. Number two, go ahead and go over to TCS Motorsports and contact Ty Saxon, and he can help you out with anything you might need and any orders you would want. I've done multiple other items for Ty here in the past. I'll link all the videos down below for those also. All right, guys, again, thank you very much. If you could do me a favor, go down below, check out the Facebook and Instagram. I'm always posting stuff way ahead of time. Also, again, go check out TCS Motorsport and go check out this kick-ass fan shroud kit.